Live from the station on your side, this is WAVY News 10.
Flames lit the sky over Norfolk tonight as a 3-alarm blaze guts the Champion Fence Company, forcing guests of a nearby hotel out onto the streets.
Chopper 10 hovered over that building just after it collapsed. We'll take you airborne over the charred rubble, and on the ground, engine crews are making sure the final flames are really out.
As always, WAVY News 10 is there with extensive team coverage of the city's second major fire in a matter of days.
Good evening, everyone. Norfolk is hit with yet another major business fire in less than a week.
The Champion Fence Company was a roaring 3-alarmer this evening on Cook Street near Tidewater Drive and Virginia Beach Boulevard. It went up in flames just before 9 tonight. We were on the air live shortly after the fire started. Carrie Mattson is back now with this breaking story. Carrie?
Les, you mentioned that we were on the air shortly after the fire started. The owner of the Champion Fence Company, Jonathan Griggs, says he was watching WAVY News, and that's how he found out that his business was on fire. He estimates the damage at over $100,000. No injuries to report. This is what is left of the warehouse. Firefighters still on the scene. You can see there's still flames poking out here and there, but it's nothing like what it was earlier tonight. Take a look at these pictures. Power lines exploded as the 3-alarm fire ate through the warehouse. More than 60 responding firefighters had to deal with the gusting wind that helped spread the fire, as well as carry burning embers several feet into the air and over the neighborhood. Now, the aluminum exterior held the fire in like an oven until it collapsed. The contents of the warehouse were also a problem.
The construction of the building was a heavy timber construction, plus the combustibles that were inside. We also learned that there was a welding shop inside, which had a lot of accelerant gases.
Now, also inside, there were a couple of trucks that had a reasonable amount of fuel inside, some personal vehicles. Of the people who worked in the warehouse, there were about 15 people on scene tonight who now don't have jobs because of the fire. Now, the owner of the company says they'll be ready to rebuild again. They'll be back in business in 2 or 3 days. Again, no injuries in this fire. Now, the arson task force is on scene. Jack Goldhorn of the fire department says that's pretty standard procedure. They're not saying right now that it is an arson, but the investigators are on scene. These firefighters also will be working through the night to make sure that this fire is in fact out. Reporting live in Norfolk, I'm Carrie Mattson. Les Alvita, back to you.
Boy, amazing pictures there. Okay, Carrie, thanks. We'll check back with you a little bit later in the newscast.
Well, there were scores of people gathering to watch this fire, and that was causing some traffic problems for the emergency vehicles. With more on the spectacle of the blaze, team coverage on the fire continues now with Stephen Lattimore. Stephen.
Well, Alvita, we can tell you that people line the streets out here. One guy told me he could see it from as far away as Chesapeake. Tonight, the black Norfolk sky turned an orangish red as a 3-alarm fire sent flames spiraling into the sky. Looking at this now, what do you think of all this? You ever seen anything like this?
No, I haven't. I've never seen nothing like this. Never
You
seen
afraid when you see this?
Yeah. Yes, afraid.
Yeah. Why is sparking?
Yeah, why is it like
For the power line,
Yes.
everything. It's kind of scary.
We seen it when it first happened.
Others were drawn to the smoke and flames.
Downtown.
You were coming to Norfolk, and what happened?
Saw the flames, so I stopped.
How far away could you see the flames?
From as soon as I left in Chesapeake.
Next door, a hotel is evacuated. Still, some won't leave. How come you're not evacuated? Why are you still here?
Well, the man told me to come up here and stay. He let me know.
Are you concerned about the fire here?
No, I ain't gonna do it. I don't know nobody.
You're not afraid or concerned?
No, I'm not afraid.
Others do leave because the flames are too intense. How many people were evacuated?
So far, they just told the people from in the beginning, in the back of the hotel to leave. They didn't tell us in the other part of the hotel.
This guy even brought his own camera. You don't see anything like this every day.
It's terrible. I'll tell you what, man, I got too much respect for firefighters. Oh, well, man, I mean, they're out here, you know, I don't know.
Now, of course, the amazing thing is that with all the smoke, with all the flames, no one was hurt. Alvita, back to you.
That is amazing. Thanks a lot, Stephen. Now, how much of an effect have the winds tonight had on this fire?
Very strong wind gusts. Let's check in now with Jim Lawrence. Jim?
Well, of course, it's the same situation out west when they're trying to fight fires out there in the forest. Anytime they have tremendously strong winds like we have in the area tonight, it makes controlling a fire almost impossible. Let's take a look at our school net, and we polled over the past hour to sort of get an idea about some of the wind gusts across the area. Notice the one in Portsmouth, 51 miles per hour. Those winds have been running on the average of anywhere from about 20 to 25 miles per hour. You see 41 at Virginia Beach, 46 down at Elizabeth City, 39 in Suffolk. And again, these are some of the gusts, but imagine trying to fight a fire with wind gusts up to 51 miles per hour. We'll check the complete forecast coming up for you in just a few minutes. Les and Alvita.
Okay, Jim, thanks. Now, as we mentioned, this is the second big fire in Norfolk this week. A 4-alarm fire destroyed the Nelco clothing store on Granby Street on Monday. That spectacular blaze is thought to have been started by an electrician who may have dropped a screwdriver into the power box he was working on. The owners of the Nelco store do not plan to rebuild. Now, we'll be live on the scene of tonight's fire in Norfolk at the Champion Fence Company several times throughout the next 30 minutes. And our Charles Pugh takes us over the blaze in Chopper 10. Stay with WAVY News 10 for the very latest on this breaking story.
Another tragic story tonight. A 3-year-old child is dead after drowning in a family pool. It happened in the 2600 block of Pine Forest Lane around 5 o'clock this afternoon. Police tell us the child's mother found the toddler in the pool. It is not known how long he was underwater. The boy was taken to Chesapeake General Hospital, but he died this evening.
And an update on a story we first told you about Tuesday on WAVY News 10 at 11. Another person has come forward and accused Winston Fields of sexual assault. You may recall the 58-year-old Cumberland man was arrested for allegedly molesting 2 Virginia Beach boys in his care more than 20 years ago. Police tell us the third alleged victim came forward after seeing Fields' picture on our air. 5 men have been arrested for trying to carjack and abduct a Virginia Beach woman. The incident happened in December. The armed suspects forced the woman out of her car and tried to make her get in the trunk, but the suspects fled the scene when she started screaming. Police say they were led to one of the suspects after finding a completed job application at the crime scene. He found an owner for his dog and gave away his home.
Now a Norfolk man is on his way to Tennessee to receive cancer treatment. That tops news in our Day at a Glance. You may remember Reese Appleton offered to lend his mobile home to anyone who'd live there and care for his dog. That's because a veterans hospice in Tennessee said they would treat his cancer, but his dog couldn't come with him. Appleton got a neighbor to care for his dog. This morning he left for Tennessee.
Hampton police have charged another suspect in a home invasion that left a man and his dog dead. Today, Otis Thomas was charged with murder, robbery, and use of a firearm. Michael Jackson was shot to death in December after 4 people barged into his home.
People get fired every day, but very few businesses are sued for more than $11 million because of it. Well, that's the lawsuit partners at Celador Productions are facing tonight. It claims promoter Bill Reed, who was recently fired, was never paid what he's owed for operating the Virginia Beach Amphitheater.
A Norfolk-based organization is $11 million richer tonight. Charles Wong, the president of Computer Associated International, donated $10 million to Operation Smile, and Bill Gates gave them another $1 million. The money will be spent on a train traveling across China to distribute supplies and give medical treatment to thousands of children over the next 5 years. If you've spent some time on the road, you may have noticed gas prices are on their way down. That story tops the headlines in tomorrow's Daily Press. Take a look at this. The Wilco station on J. Clyde Morris in Newport News is selling gas for 98 cents a gallon. That's down from $1.03 just 2 weeks ago. The industry is getting better at finding and processing oil, which results in a surplus of crude on the market.
This morning we were really slammed with customers getting gas. A lot of customers were very happy about the price. I love it. The more customers, the better.
Money's tight these days and try to save every penny you can. I look for about the cheapest gas that I can find.
And you can find the best deals on gas in Yorktown and Grafton right now. And you can read more about it in the pages of tomorrow's Daily Press. We are back with more on our breaking story. A massive fire destroys a Norfolk fence company.
Live coverage from the ground, and we'll take you over the flames in Chopper 10.
Well, the firefighters' work is far from over, and the investigators' work is just beginning in the second major business fire in a week. I'm Carrie Matson. I'll have more details coming up.
You are looking live now at what's left of the Champion Fence Company in Norfolk.
A 3-alarm blaze has kept firefighters busy since before 9 tonight and reduced the building to little more than rubble.
Now, at the top of our newscast, we gave you a glimpse of the fire from Chopper 10.
And now Charles Pugh takes us high above Norfolk's second big blaze this week.
Well, the bird's eye view of this fire from Chopper 10 is pretty spectacular at this time. You see the plumes of smoke billowing away, and you can still see some fire at this time. The fire crews have done a good job of knocking down the flames. You see at least a dozen or so of emergency crews that are here on the scene, fire trucks, as well as ambulances and police cars. They have blocked off Tidewater Drive between several streets. There are several blocks of Tidewater that are closed off, but there is a small stream of traffic that is passing the fire. They have blocked it down to one lane. There was a time, though, when we were traveling over here to get in the Chopper 10 to come up here to show you this view. You could see the flames shooting up several dozen feet into the air. We were on 264 coming over here. It's about a mile and a half from this scene, and you could see the fire very well. And at one time, the fire was so ferocious that it left an orange glow underneath the clouds. But at this time, fire crews have knocked down, I would say, 90% of the fire. But the building is almost completely destroyed. There is nothing but a frame that is around where the building used to be, and some smoke and some flames left. So the fire crew has done an excellent job of knocking this fire down. One could only hope that inside of that warehouse was nothing toxic, because there are, of course, billows of smoke blowing everywhere because it's pretty windy out here tonight. But that's the bird's eye view from Chopper 10. Now back to you.
All right, thank you, Charles. And as we have said, there were no injuries. The fire is basically out for now, and no exact cause is known.
And for the other view, the view from the ground, let's take you back live to the scene right now, where reporter Carrie Matson has been working all night. She joins us with the very latest. Carrie?
Les, as I had said before, the arson task force is on the scene. Now, the arson task force is made up of investigators from all the area cities who kind of put their minds together now to figure out what happened to this building. You can see that firefighters are still keeping an eye on things, still a little bit of flames, and they're basically just trying to cool it off. The best way that I could describe this to you is, imagine if you put a pan of Jiffy Pop on your stove and forgot about it. It's an aluminum building. It held the heat in until finally it just literally burst out of the building and it started to collapse. When the building collapsed, that's really when the firefighters could really take control and have the upper hand, and now they have gotten it quite under control. Also, things they were working against, the wind, gusting, spreading embers, threatening at one time the Econo Lodge that's next door and other structures that were in the area. But amazingly, no one was hurt, including the more than 60 firefighters that did respond to the scene, and the firefighters that you see behind me. They'll be on scene all night long, making sure that this structure is safe and the fire is in fact out. Reporting live in Norfolk, I'm Carrie Matson. Back to you guys.
Okay, late developments in that story. Carrie, thanks. It is the last place you'd expect to see a Baywatch star taking it all off.
But a Virginia Beach intersection is the new home of a racy ad starring Pamela Lee. PETA'S newest pitch next.
And later, squeals of joy over an unusual adoption in Oslo. Don't move, you'll miss it.
Now, Super Doppler 10 weather. Here's meteorologist Jim Lawrence.
Hasn't been a bad night, but we have had some wind out there.
Oh, I know it. Earlier, and the wind's been going all day long. And
yeah.
I mean, it's not just 15 to 20, it's like 20 to 30. And of course, on the seas out there, it's doing a number as far as churning up the ocean as well. Good evening, everybody. Let's get a look at our current conditions out here at 11 o'clock. And of course, we're going to have kind of hazy skies over the Norfolk and Portsmouth area, with the skies filled with smoke from the fire. Right now, conditions of the skies are cloudy. And the Norfolk temperature right now at 63. Newport News temperature also 63. The low temperature this morning, or the low temperature right now, that's our current 63. High today, 74. All right, we'll start with our WAVY Super Doppler 10. All the rain that we had is now well on out to sea. And of course, we're pretty well done with the rain, at least for right now. Round one of the rain, and we'll talk about round two. In the meantime, let's go to the satellite picture here. And I'll show you a couple of low pressure systems, and they're very important. This one here in the south is very, very important to us. Notice it's spinning around, and we have another one here to the north that produced some severe weather today. Notice this one right here. And of course, anytime you have a low pressure spinning around, it forces energy up like such. And that energy is what we're going to keep a close eye on. We'll look under the clouds here. And again, it looks like some rain in North Carolina, some rain up there as you move on up toward Delaware, and also some rain out there in West Virginia. Fortunately, the good news is it is all in the form of rain. So we have two low pressure systems. One here, this is the one, as we mentioned here earlier today, that sent some energy into the area and produced some lightning and also some heavy rains. But this one we still got to keep an eye on. Notice it's sending some energy up here to the northeast, so there is the possibility overnight that we could see some showers and maybe some early morning thunderstorms. Again, you can see the cyclonic spin about the low pressure system here. Again, kicking all that energy, but it doesn't seem to have near the energy as what the other low pressure had earlier today. So there's just a chance maybe we'll see some scattered showers overnight. Right now, our temps are in the 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s, 20s. A big pool of cold air is building, and it's going to be moving eastward here, it looks like, in the next 48 hours. All right, we're going to look at future track through our forecast period, which takes us through the next 48 hours, and you'll notice all the warm, moist air we've had here in the East Coast is history as we make way for this lobe of cold, dry air that's going to be settling in. It looks as though it's going to be Saturday night when we'll really start to feel those temperatures. And right now, in fact, speaking of the temperatures, we'll animate those over the next 48 hours through our forecast period. And you'll notice how the reds and also the warmer colors give way to the blues and also the pinks as they continue to build eastward. So the upshot, at least with our temperatures there on the future track, is that we are going to see a major cool down coming in the next couple of days. All right, here's this one area of low pressure continuing to move. We have a front that's going to pass through tomorrow morning. Then tomorrow night, yet a trough moves through, a weak front. This will cool us down Friday night, temperatures down to about 40 degrees. And then by Saturday night, this brings us through the end of our forecast period, Saturday at about 9 o'clock. And then Sunday, this next front will move through, and that will kind of reinforce the cold air that's in place as we get back to more seasonable kind of temperatures. Here are the weather watchers. 45 the Baywater, 62 still at Oceana, 63 Norfolk, 63 Portsmouth, 62 the temperature in Portsmouth, 63 in Newport News, 61 there. Ed up in Williamsburg, 55 at Wallops Island, 61 Elizabeth City, and 57 from George at Moyock. Here's the forecast tonight. We'll go with mostly cloudy skies. There could be some scattered showers, but a lesser chance of what we had earlier today. 56 for a low temperature, south winds at 15 to 25. Again, a small craft advisory. Looks as though those winds are going to stay up throughout the night. The forecast for tomorrow, partly sunny. We will start the day with some cloudiness, but more sun toward afternoon. Let's go for 65. Here it is for Friday night. We'll go for clear and cold. 39 degrees. Boy, that's the temperature we haven't seen in a while. Here it is for Saturday. We'll go for mostly sunny skies, 53 degrees, and west winds at around 15. Here's a look at the 5-day forecast. 65 on Friday, and on Saturday we'll have 53, about 50 degrees on Sunday as we get into kind of a major cool down coming up over the next couple of days. But one thing interesting, it looks as though we're not going to go back to this stuff of daytime highs of 41, overnight lows of 25. That doesn't seem to be in the cards. Thank goodness for El Nino.
Well, you know, February's still out there.
That's true.
Give it time.
Yeah,
Okay.
plenty of time.
Thanks. We'll see you
All
later.
right.
Thanks. Well, we'll check back in on the scene of a fire in Norfolk in just a few minutes.
And we'll have some news that all families in Hampton Roads should be concerned about from tonight's episode of ER to Real Life, Easy Ways to Keep Older Americans Safe. That's coming up.
Taking a look again tonight at the fire that broke out earlier tonight at the Champion Fence Company.
A 3-alarm blaze that gutted that building in the city of Norfolk earlier tonight. As we've been reporting, this is the second major fire in the city of Norfolk this week. Despite these spectacular pictures, the electrical lines falling there and sparks flying in the air, no one was hurt tonight. Firefighters are still on the scene. We will continue to follow this story for you.
Well, we see it in the headlines every day. Anyone can be a crime victim.
But more and more elderly people are becoming targets of all kinds of attack, from robbery to sexual assault. It's a disturbing trend and one weaved into the storyline on tonight's ER episode. An older woman is brought into the trauma center after being raped. In real life, it happens all the time.
Pushed me into the bushes, knocked my glasses off so I can't identify him. It was scary, I guess.
Make sure that there's nobody in your car, or under your car, around your car. It's knowing what's in your area. If you're scared, okay, most places have security people, okay, that will walk out with them.
That advice works for folks of all ages, but for senior citizens, Minnerly adds that traveling in pairs at a minimum is a good idea. Elderly people are targeted because they are usually unable to physically fend off an attacker.
A study in the New England Journal of Medicine says a common treatment for an overactive thyroid may actually make the condition worse. Graves' disease is often characterized by bulging or droopy eyes. Now, according to the study, a treatment called radioactive iodine therapy can make the eye problem even worse. Graves' patients also can opt for drug therapy or surgery. From the shores of Baywatch to a billboard on Newtown Road.
Pamela Lee is giving the cold shoulder to fur in Hampton Roads. The blonde bombshell is teaming up with PETA to draw attention to the plight of animals raised for their fur. In the past, PETA'S anti-fur brigade came mostly from fashion runways, but Lee joins a growing cast of actors and singers volunteering to send out PETA'S message.
I think people are really ignorant when it comes to what they do and how they skin animals alive. They electrocute them in their genitals. It's horrible the way they abuse these animals and kill them, slaughter them. It takes like 160 chinchillas to make a coat, and so they kill these little tiny animals. And I really think that people thought a little further of what went into making that jacket, they wouldn't buy it.
You can check out Pamela's new billboard near the intersection of Newtown Road and Virginia Beach Boulevard. Can Pittsburgh score more points than Denver? Also, Steve Young squares off against Brett Favre. More pregame from the NFL's Final Four.
And Bruce has highlights from the United States Figure Skating Championships. Sports is next.
Okay, time to make your picks. Marquee matchups this weekend.
That's right. What, you guys going to wait till tomorrow? All right, I want some picks tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll give you a hint. Pittsburgh.
You like
one of my picks.
That's a hint.
He's still unsure between this Packers-49ers thing. Who will go to the Super Bowl? We'll find out Sunday when the Denver Broncos visit the Pittsburgh Steelers and the San Francisco 49ers host the Green Bay Packers. Even though the game is rated even by most experts, it's hard not to favor the San Francisco 49ers at home in a playoff game. The Niners and Packers with identical 14-3 records. Yes, San Francisco has been to the Super Bowl 6 times, but they've lost to the Packers 3 straight times, including twice in the playoffs in the past 2 years. So the Niners fired head coach George Seifert. They hired a new coach, got a new kicker, got a new running back, Garrison Hurst, spent big bucks on Rod Woodson and Kevin Green, and still have Steve Young, one of the finest Super Bowl quarterbacks still playing in the game. How can you not be confident with Steve Young at home?
I think we're pretty confident. I think we're playing, unlike the last couple of years, we're playing our best football at the right time. And all systems go. You know, we feel good about what we're doing.
But as good as Steve Young is, Brett Favre has shown he can take the pressure of winning the Super Bowl, but can he take the pressure of San Francisco's pass rush? Dana Stubblefield, the NFC's Defensive Player of the Year, and Bryant Young on the inside, Roy Barker and Chris Dolman on the ends. Favre says, hey, I took on Warren Sapp last week. I've beaten the Niners before, and I won the Super Bowl last year. I know what I can do.
We deserve to be here. We feel like we should win this ball game, as San Francisco does. But there, I don't want to say there's doubt. We're playing a good football team. We really are. And anything can happen out there. They have, the 12th man in their crowd and their weather. We're traveling. Everything's to their advantage in that area. We're the defending champions, so we know how to get there. We know what it takes.
In the AFC Championship game, a showdown between AFC quarterbacks of the past and the future. No doubt Denver's John Elway is headed to the Hall of Fame. He led his team to victory over the favored Chiefs last week in Kansas City. Does he have enough, though, to take his Broncos to one final Super Bowl? The quarterback of the future, the player formerly known as Slash, now the quarterback of the 90s. He not only passes, but he scrambles. He says he admires John Elway, but on Sunday, it will be all business for Kordell Stewart.
The guys you admire as far as their style, when you're away from the game, he's one of those guys that I do admire. But when I'm out there playing against him, all that admiring and looking up to pretty much come to a cease because, I'm playing against him. And, I really don't think about the type of quarterback that he is. I just worry about what we're going to do and what we need to do in order to get some points on the board.
2 good games on Sunday. Todd Eldridge won his 5th U.S. Men's Figure Skating Championships in 9 years tonight. Let me take you to Philadelphia, where Eldridge makes the U.S. Olympic team, but will most likely share a spot on the team with Michael Weiss, who went for the quad. It looked good, but the judges didn't count it. He finished 2nd, so Todd Eldridge here wins the U.S. Championship. Scott Davis finished 3rd. Meanwhile, on the ladies' side, 17-year-old Michelle Kwan here, out for 2 months with a broken toe, dominated the short program at the U.S. Figure Skating Championships today. Still, more action to come, but it was Kwan's best performance since she won the '96 world title. It was her best short program ever, 7 perfect 6s.
At the end, I was like, now I can enjoy the moment. Now I can breathe, and I just couldn't believe people were standing up, and when I heard the 6.0s, I was like, am I hearing this right?
Now here was the surprise of the day. Defending world champion Tara Lipinski falls on her triple flip and drops to 4th place. Nicole Bobeck, the 1995 women's champion, made a strong push to make the Olympic team by finishing 2nd to Kwan in the short program. That's worth 1/3 of the total score, but they're not going to finish up until Saturday on the ladies' side. And finally tonight, ACC basketball, Hampton's Tony Rutland led Wake Forest to a 70-66 victory over number 24 Clemson tonight. Let me take you to Winston-Salem. 3 days after having his starting job taken away, Rutland, Allen Iverson's teammate at Bethel High School, redeems himself by scoring 9 of Wake's last 17 points. Don't forget tomorrow, great college and high school wrestling action. It's the Virginia Duels at the Hampton Coliseum. That's tomorrow and Saturday, and we'll have coverage for you tomorrow on WAVY News 10 at 5, 5:30, and 6.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
We are back with a final check on that fire at the Norfolk Fence Company.
You are looking live at the remains of that 3-alarm fire at the Champion Fence Company near Tidewater Drive and Virginia Beach Boulevard. We're there with another live update next.
Before we leave you, a final check on that fire in Norfolk, the 3-alarm blaze that destroyed the Champion Fence Company.
Back now with Carrie Madsen, who's been on the scene all night. Carrie.
Hey, Alvita. Again, the owners of Champion Fence estimate that it's over $100,000 damage here to their building. You can see it's just totally collapsed here. Firefighters are still on scene. You can see there's just a little bit of flames peeking out here and there. Of course, nothing like the inferno that it was earlier today. A lot of challenges to putting out this fire between the gusting wind and the building was aluminum, so it held the heat, and inside just a laundry list of flammable items inside, from wood to trucks with fuel. There was a welding shop. It just went on, but it was contained. Something else I want to mention real quick. Earlier tonight on WAVY News 10 at 6, we told you about the OSHA conference in Washington that mandated that firefighters now work in pairs of 2. I think you can kind of see behind me that that is in effect tonight in this fire. We did see that. Firefighters were in fact working in pairs, and they still are. And amazingly, not one of the 60 who responded tonight were injured. Reporting live in Norfolk, I'm Carrie Madsen. Back to you guys.
That is some good news. Thanks a lot, Carrie.
And a final check on tomorrow's weather.
Well, it looks as though we'll start the day with some clouds. We should see partly sunny by afternoon. Looks like a cool spell. 63 to 66. Hope we can get used to it after those 70s.
I think we can live with it.
Oh, we'll try. Thanks.
Right.
Well, you know, it's not exactly a match made in heaven.
But if it's not broken, don't fix it. A Labrador retriever in Oslo, Norway, adopted this piglet after its mother stopped nursing it.
The pig doesn't seem to notice that it doesn't share the same physical features as its mom, and a vet says it's thriving on the dog's milk. But now, if the owner can just get to herd the livestock, then this piglet might score the leading role in Babe 2, the sequel.
It's a face a mother could
Adorable.
love.
Only a mother could love. That's going to do it for WAVY News 10 tonight, 11. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you again tomorrow.
Good night.